We have an exciting presentation for you, the first of 2015. So get your pen and paper ready, and we are going to get started and have a lot of fun. Today, we're proud to have Mr. Rick Brown on the online event. Rick is the president and CEO of Bank Foreclosures Direct. Rick is one of the most successful real estate investors in the country today. He is also a leading real estate investment expert and facilitator of acquisition of bank-owned foreclosures. Everyone, please welcome Mr. Rick Brown.
All right, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Good, good, good. Who wants to make some money? Yeah? Who wants to make a lot of money? Good. You're all on the right webinar here tonight. My name's Rick Brown, and I am the president and CEO of National Business Solutions Bank Foreclosures Direct. We're going to have a great time tonight. We're going to spend about an hour with you here. And then I'm going to show you tonight, how would you like in an hour and a half time be able to go out and make an extra $30,000 a month over and over and over again? Have you done your goals for 2015? Well, I'm an expert at goal setting. That's one of my things I do at the end of the year. And my goal is to make a ton of money. And I want to find out if there's some people on this call here tonight that want to go out and make a ton of money with me, because the market has never been better. I'm going to show you the right way to get in, get out, and get paid with Bank Foreclosures Direct. Our office is located at 4660 La Jolla Village Drive. We have the entire 5th floor in beautiful San Diego, right across from the UTC Mall. I've been in real estate for over 30 years. When I started in real estate, it was very unique because I had just gotten out of high school. I grew up in San Mateo. That's the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. I grew up with a single parent. I've got an older brother, older sister. My mom worked for Zales at the Hillsdale Mall. My older brother, older sister, very intellectual. Both got super great grades, scholarships, big name universities. My brother just retired from the California Senate. I, unfortunately, wasn't as academically inclined as they were. You see, I didn't have the grades when I got out of high school to get a scholarship. My mom, being a single parent, well, she didn't have the money. So I was destined to take the second route, go to a little junior college, College of San Mateo, a couple years, pick up my grades, try to get a scholarship, transfer over. Well, that summer after I got out of high school, I was going to get a job, try to save some money before I started College of San Mateo. I was going through the newspaper looking for a job. You know, and this was 1972. In 1972, when you looked for a job, you looked for it in the newspaper. You guys remember those things? All right. Well, it just so happens that my mom, she worked for Zales, but she had some very cool clients. She had Joe Montana. She had the entire San Francisco 49er team. But she had two very, very wealthy people, John and Claire. And these people were extremely wealthy. And it just so happened that same week while I was looking for a job, they were in the area and they decided to pop by and say hi to my mom. You see, my mom introduced them to each other. They were both very successful. She introduced them, kind of a little matchmaker, and they ended up getting married. So they popped by. My mom was very close to them. They were her closest clients. They stopped in, say hi, and they were chatting. Then as they were getting ready to leave, my mom said, "Hey, John, could you do me a big favor?" He said, "Oh, shoot, Mary, what can I do for you?" Well, my youngest son's having a little difficulty. You know, he didn't get good grades his last year in high school, and, you know, didn't get a scholarship. He's going to go to CSM, and maybe you could sit down and just have a little chat with him, since his older brother is already gone and out of the house and moved away. He said, "You know, Mary, shoot, I'll do anything for you. Shoot, give him my number, tell him to give my office a call tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I'll make some time, and I'll sit down and chat with him for a little bit." So that night when my mom got off work, she gets off about 9 o'clock, gets home about 9:30. She came in, asked me how my day was. I asked her how hers was. Told her I'd been looking for a job. She says, "Well, it's really ironic because two of my best clients, two very, very dear people to me, very special people, very successful people, popped in to say hi to me. And before they left, I asked him if he'd sit down and chat with you a bit, because he's very, very successful. And he said he would be more than happy to talk with you. And he asked that I give you his phone number, and could you call him tomorrow at 9 o'clock and see if you can make it down to meet with him? I said, sure. Yep, whatever. Sounds good to me. So next morning I was up making a few phone calls. 9 o'clock came, called his office. I said, hi, this is Rick Brown, Mary's son. Come for John Bergman. She said, oh, he's expecting your call. Let me put you right through. Put me right through. He said, so shoot, man, what are you doing? So your mom's Mary. Shoot, I love your mom. My wife and I both love her. So what's going on? I said, I'm just going through the newspaper trying to get some job interviews and stuff. He said, well, shoot, are you busy today? I have some time around 11 a.m. I said, no, not really. I can be there. So he gave me his office address. I drove down there. It's on El Camino Real. And it was ironic because when I pulled in, I went, oh, my gosh, this is like the most beautiful office building in the Bay Area. His office was the entire top floor. I was just like, wow. Went in, told the secretary who I was, said, oh, shoot, the receptionist, he's expecting you. Come right on in. Can I get you a coffee, a water, or anything, tea? I said, no, I'm good. So I sat down, started chatting with him. My mom told me he was a great guy, but shoot, I hit it off with him. We just had a lot of things in common. And shoot, we got talking, and he's just a cool guy. Next thing I know, it's like an hour and a half goes by. Next thing you know, it's like 12:30. He looks at my watch and says, oh, my gosh, already 12:30. He says, shoot, you know what, Rick, I get up at 5 every day, and I'm starving. I haven't ate since real early. He says, how'd you like to go to lunch with me? Come on, I'll buy you lunch. What do you say? Come on, I'll take you to my favorite restaurant. I said, okay, sounds good. I didn't know where we were going, so we went out, went down the elevator, walking through this beautiful lobby. And he said, we're going to go right here to this French restaurant right here. I was just dressed in jeans and stuff because I wasn't going for a job interview or anything. I said, shoot, can I get in? You know, it's a fine dining restaurant. He says, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're with me. No sweat. We went in. They sat us at his regular table. We got talking. As we were talking, I found out, guess what? He owned the restaurant. Not only that, I found out, shoot, he owned the building. He built it. I also found out that he's the guy who, him and a partner of his, Gary Brasfield, started a little company called Century 21 Real Estate. He's a self-made multi-billionaire. I didn't realize this, but he'd done developments. He built one of the most expensive areas in the Bay Area, is an area called Hillsborough. Okay? He built half of Hillsborough. He built Redwood Shores. He built office buildings and shopping centers and subdivisions and all these things and stuff. Shoot, he started telling me all about this stuff. He started Founders Title Company, later became Old Republic. And I was just, oh my gosh. So next thing you know, a couple hours go by. He says, so shoot, he says, I got to cancel some appointments. Next thing you know, time's going by. So he called his office, said, cancel these appointments for me. And he said, but Rick, I got to get going. I'm running a lot late on a lot of my stuff. So look, so you're looking for a job for the summer? He says, shoot, how'd you like to work for me? I said, really? He says, yeah, really. I like you. You can work for me. I said, but what would I do? He says, you could be my gopher guy. I said, gopher guy? What's a gopher guy? He says, you know, whenever I need somebody to go for something, go for this, go for that, go for this, go for that, you could be that guy. I looked at him and said, I could be the gopher guy. I could do that job. And I became his gopher guy. I did whatever he needed me to do. I ran errands. I went to architect's office. I went down to the board of realtors. I went here. I went there. I went to escrow companies. I picked up documents. Shoot, I picked up cleaning for them. You know, I cleaned their cars up at their house. They have a beautiful house. They both had a Rolls Royce. He had a Porsche Turbo. She had a Mercedes sports car. He had a helicopter. Had his own jet. It's like, oh my gosh. I even, and when they did cocktail parties and stuff, I even kind of worked the cocktail party for them. I brought out the food and made drinks and served drinks. And I just did whatever they wanted to. We're getting close to the end of summer, to make long story short. He called me in and said, Rick, have a seat. He says, you know what? It's almost the end of summer. He says, you got 2 weeks before you start college. I said, I know. He said, I just got off the phone with your mom. She's very excited. She's glad you're going to college. I am too. He says, you know what? I never had a chance to go to college. But I will tell you one thing. I did become a multi-billionaire from nothing. And he says, I talked it over with my wife, Claire, and I want to ask you something. And I'm very serious about this. Now, I think that's great. You're going to go to college, get a degree and stuff. My wife and I both really like you. How would you like to stay on full-time with us? Now, hey, I can't tell you that you're going to get a degree or anything from me, but I will promise you one thing, Rick. You come work for me, you do what I teach you, and I promise you are going to make a lot of money. So, what do you think? I said, shoot, count me in. And I went to work for him. I became his right-hand person. I ended up getting my real estate license. I'm a licensed real estate broker. I'm a condominium hotel operator. I'm a condominium managing agent. I've got a CCIM, a commercial designation. And I'm also have it's called a PCAM license, Planned Community Association Management License. That means as developers, which he was, and I am now, I was able to put together the budget for the HOA fees for that subdivision or that condominium complex. And it came in very, very handy. By the way, there's just barely 200 people that have that designation, but it was very important. I invested a lot of money to get those designations. He had told me how important it was to invest in my education. You invest in your education and I will teach you what I know. And I just did whatever he said. In the late 70s, early 80s, if you guys remember, we had a recession. Oh gosh, real estate got slow. We had a savings and loan crisis. The FDIC went in and shut down all these savings and loan companies. And what they did is they shut them down because they were insolvent. And what they did is they took over all their assets. They created a corporation called the Resolution Trust Corporation, the RTC. And this corporation that the government set up was to liquidate those assets of the savings and loans that the FDIC had acquired, these assets, residential, commercial, real estate assets. And one day I went into the office and his secretary said, oh, John wants to talk to you. I said, okay, went right in. He said, so Rick, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of the Resolution Trust Corporation, the RTC? I said, no. He says, well, it just so happens a good buddy of mine, Art Toronto, he's the president and CEO of that company. It's a government corporation, and what they do is they liquidate commercial and residential real estate assets for the FDIC. These are banks they've taken back, or properties they've taken back from the savings and loans. And he says, it just so happens, I talked to him, and they got a ton of great properties. How'd you like to go with me? You'll meet my buddy Art, go down to the Resolution Trust Corporation, and I'll tell you what, we're going to steal some properties down there, get a ton of them, and I can tell you what, I'm going to make you a ton of money. I said, but I don't really have any money to invest. I've only saved a little bit of money. He said, oh, shoot, don't worry about that. Not only do I have a ton of money, but I got a ton of investors. You see, when you're a billionaire, everybody wants to invest with you because they're too busy to do it themselves. And since everything I touch turns to gold, he says, shoot, I got a ton of this. Don't worry about it. He says, you ready to take a ride? I said, sure. Where is it? He said, it's back on the East Coast. He says, do me a favor, go home, pack up some stuff for about 3 days, meet me at the airport by my jet. We're going to fly out tomorrow morning. Meet me there at 7 a.m. I said, okay, packed up, went out there, met Art Toronto, great guy. Just so happens, my mentor, my coach, John, shoot, he even owned a NASCAR with him. So they were good buddies. They let us handpick, go through the files. That's when it was all in file boxes and stuff. So we were able to see which ones they were. Shoot, we picked up properties 30, 50% below market value, picked them up, sold them in a slow real estate market, and sold them just like that. That year alone, with his help, I was able to make over $1 million, okay? I had never come close to making $1 million. Now, I know he made a lot more than me. Do you think I cared? Heck no. Shoot. I was just happy to have made $1 million. But that was just the start. You see, I've been very fortunate and blessed to learn how to invest in my future because that's what he taught me to do. And I never thought I'd see another time where it was so easy to make so much money as it was back then until right now, over the past 3-5 years. Oh my gosh, it's just been incredible. It's so easy. And this year, 2015, this is going to be the best year ever. And I wanted to share this with you guys because some of you on this phone call here tonight, I'm going to show you and give you a chance to make a ton of money. How many in this phone call would like to make a ton of money? Good. Why real estate? Well, first of all, you either own it and control it, or you pay the people who do. Let's face it, God stopped making land a long, long time ago. People keep making babies. That's called supply and demand. There's 7 fundamental laws of creating wealth. The 5th, and one of the most important, is the law of demand. You see, demand drives price, price drives profits. And lenders are experts at the law of demand. And they learned it just by accident. It's a fact. Real estate has created more millionaires and billionaires than any other wealth center. Hey, do you remember back December 7th, 2011? Wall Street Journal wrote that home foreclosures surged to the highest level ever. Ever recorded. Do you remember 2012? Shoot. Realty Track writes that lenders returned to delay-free foreclosure as banks started to process hundreds of thousands of new foreclosure homes and put them up for sale. In 2012, shoot, Bank of America shifted West Coast foreclosures into overdrive. Notice default filings jumped nearly 70% in the state of California alone. Along with them, J.P. Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citibank, all these other banks. There was more foreclosures than ever before. In California alone, there was 2,210,594 people delinquent on mortgage in some type of foreclosure. This is historic. 2,210,594. But what happened is, first of all, towards the end, middle of 2012, the lenders all got sued. They got sued by 49 attorney generals. That didn't even stop them from foreclosing. But what did stop them is on June 15, 2012, the United States Department of Justice started an investigation into wrongful foreclosure practices, robo-signing, allegations of fraud, bringing foreclosures to a stop in the next 3 months. And they started a case-by-case, file-by-file review of all the lenders' files. They were told, you cannot file any more notices of default. You cannot file any more notice of trustee sale if you've already filed a notice of default. You cannot liquidate any assets. You can't sell any of your properties. We are going to go through case by case, and if we find it's appropriate, we're going to come after you criminally. And what happened is by the end of 2012, foreclosures started slowing down, almost coming to a near halt by the end of 2012. And as far as the news goes, shoot, people are going, wow, this is great. Guess what? The real estate market is getting better. Look at foreclosures are down. Look how far they're down. They weren't down. They couldn't foreclose on these people. But to the general public, that made them think law of demand, demand drives price, price drives profits. Lenders didn't even see this in the forecast. They were freaking out, thought they were going to get, go after them criminally. It was in 2013 that Brandon Moore, the Chief Executive Officer for Realty Track, wrote that the low foreclosures numbers that we're seeing right now is not an indication that the massive reservoir of distressed properties built up over the past few years has somehow miraculously evaporated. And then the Vice President of Realty Track, Bloomquist, says the foreclosure crisis is not going away anytime soon. At the current rate, Bloomquist, Vice President of Realty Track, expects it to take to late 2015 before the country's massive foreclosures are in the rearview mirror. In other words, foreclosures didn't go away. They kicked the can down the road. But to the general public, that's exactly what it looked like. On March 7, 2013, 10 services agreed to pay borrowers $8.5 billion over fraud foreclosures. This was a settlement agreement announced Monday with the United States Department of Justice that ended a case-by-case investigation into wrongful foreclosing practice, robo-signing, allegations of fraud, case-by-case, file-by-file review. That was 10 services. And then over the rest of 2013, more and more lenders started cutting deals. They said, shoot, you know what? Don't come after me criminally. Get out of our files, and we'll buck up. We'll pay. Just stop looking into our files. Stop any criminal allegations of fraud against us personally. And they started cutting deals, and that's what's been happening. Now, June 13, 2014, guess what? Banks are able to go out, liquidate their assets, file notice of default, file notice of trustee sales. Banks are repossessing more and more homes as prices increase. What they found is, guess what? They found that they didn't like the Department of Justice going through it. They didn't like the fact that they couldn't liquidate these assets and get them off their books. But what happened is they found out by accident that all of a sudden the inventory dropped. It just kept dropping in every market across the country. And guess what? As the inventory dropped, the demand grew. The people all assumed, hey, foreclosures are down, everything is great. It's not great. But guess what? Prices rose. In a lot of the strongest foreclosure markets, they all began to come up. Flippers are riding a new housing wave, 2014, and it's going to be even bigger in 2015. Flippers are riding a new housing wave. Brokers say flipping is reemerging nationwide, especially where home prices have risen sharply. On Thursday, August 21st, 2014, B of A stepped up. God, get out of my files. I'll tell you what, we'll pay $16.65 billion. This is a historic Justice Department settlement, the biggest ever. Along with them, Chase, Citibank, all the big guys, all did the same thing. Get out of our files. Let us start foreclosing. Let us liquidate our assets. Tied up foreclosure, the Capital Gazette out of Washington, D.C. Tied up foreclosure homes. On the rise again. State protection has ended. That's the 49 Attorney Generals, Department of Justice. Hundreds of thousands of bank-owned properties sit empty across the country. A backlog of unsold properties that will eventually make it into the housing market at discount. And that's what we're going to see in 2015. So if your goal is to make a ton of money, this is where we're going to do it. And I don't know if you've ever heard of these things, but they're called vampire and zombie foreclosures. A lot of people have never heard of these things. A vampire foreclosure is one which the bank has actually seized the property, but the previous owners continue to live there. Okay? They couldn't do anything because of the lawsuit with Department of Justice and the 49 Attorney Generals. And then a zombie foreclosure is one where the property owners actually said, shoot, it's going to trustee sale in a month or 3 weeks or 2 weeks. And they said, shoot, honey, just pack up the kids, pack up our stuff, let's get out of here, we're losing the house. But what happened is when the Department of Justice put a stop to the ability for them to foreclose and take it to a trustee sale, guess what? The people had already moved out, the bank didn't take it to trustee sale, and people actually still own the houses and don't even know it. They just assumed it went back to the bank. Orange County, Los Angeles, November 18, 2014. With the foreclosure crisis in the past, why are foreclosures rising? People don't know about what actually happened. They don't know about the Department of Justice. So shoot, where's the money? I got news for you. Qualified short sale properties, extremely motivated sellers, trustee sales, government auctions that are not advertised to the general public, and of course, bank-owned post-foreclosures. There's a ton of money in these. Now, if you would have asked me about a short sale, a year ago, I would have said forget it. Why? Lenders weren't answering short sale offers. Why? And people were bedazzled by it. They're going, why don't they answer our offers? People would call, send in offers. The bank wouldn't get back to them. The bank was under siege by the Department of Justice. They weren't thinking about short sales. They're thinking about keeping their butts out of jail and not getting any federal lawsuits thrown at them. As a matter of fact, I read today that these lenders paid up over the past few years, the big five, okay? They've spent billions of dollars in attorney fees to settle that with the Department of Justice every year since it started. But the reason why I like short sales now is because lenders are starting to increasingly use short sales. They've settled up with the Department of Justice. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac passed a new law, speeds up the process. New policy guidelines require that lenders make a decision within 30 days of receiving a short sale offer. However, I only like qualified short sales. Qualified short sales. You've got to understand there's a difference between a short sale and a qualified short sale. And there's a big difference in them. Okay? A short sale that's qualified, and first of all, what I do is when a property goes back to a bank, or I know it's a bank-owned property, I want to find out how strong or how weak they are. Because if they're a weak bank, close to being shut down by the FDIC, I can shove an offer down their throat. But I'm looking for a qualified short sale. That's one that the sellers are already talking to the lender. They put together a hardship letter. The sellers had presented that to their lender. They provided their lender 2 years tax returns, 2 months bank statements, 2 months paycheck stubs or profit and loss. If they're self-employed, they signed off authorizations to release that information. They provided them with financial statements and financial worksheets, mortgage statements on any other loans. They want to see if they're delinquent on them. And they completed a form 4506-T. If all these things have been done, they're actually communicating with that lender. The lender knows it's going to be a short sale. And if they're a weak lender, I can shove that offer down their throat. How do you shove an offer down the bank's throat, especially if they're a weak bank? Well, you know they could get shut down at any time. But what we do is we make multiple offers. In other words, instead of making one offer on that one house that I'd want to get, I'll make 3 or 4 offers. And I'll put in there each offer, they'll all be all cash, very few contingencies. I'll put in there that, hey, the seller and the lender in this transaction is hereby advised that the buyer in this transaction is making 3 to 4 simultaneous all-cash offers. As soon as one is accepted, all others are hereby rescinded, null and void. That means if they look at that offer, they say, shoot, this is a good, strong offer. We better take it. Because if not, somebody else takes it, our offer isn't worth the piece of paper it's even written on. So it's got to be a strong offer. But you got to make multiple offers to motivate them. Otherwise, they'll play the lender game. They'll put it out to a realtor. They'll put it on the market, and they won't answer the offers until they've got like 10, 14 offers. Anybody ever experienced that? Yeah, but if you know they're a weak bank, and that's the key, knowing if they're a strong or weak bank, I can shove it down their throat, and now I can make a ton of money with these short sales. Extremely motivators, I can make a ton of money with them. These are people that are buying a house somewhere else, or they're an out-of-town owner. In order to close on that other house that they want and got a great deal on, they need to get rid of their house. Quick, cash. People inherit a piece of property. Shoot, they don't want a house. What do they want? Money. When do they want that money? Now. Shoot, right now. We live in an instant gratification society. People that have bad experience with management of their rental property. People with tax problems, bankruptcies, people that are retired, lost a job, their retirement accounts aren't earning very much, okay? So they have multiple income properties. What they do is they sell some of those off in order to keep up their lifestyle. People going through a divorce, people with health problems, people that have stock market losses. Stock market is legalized gambling out there. How about government auctions? Do you realize they don't have a budget? They don't advertise to the general public. Do you realize how much real estate as well as other items, cars, boats, jewelry, the government has? People don't understand this. And you can't discriminate. You got to know where all the best opportunities are and cash in. Get in, get out, get paid. Who has properties? HUD, the VA, FDIC, IRS, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the USDA. U.S. Marshals, U.S. Customs, Department of Defense, the GSA. GSA is the General Services Administration for the federal government, the Department of Homeland Security, the ATF, the local police, and of course the Border Patrol. But you don't know, and 99.9% of the population of this country doesn't know how to get access to their inventory. How many of you like to have access to that inventory? How many of you like to pick properties up for 30, 50% on the dollar and make a ton of money? Here, I'll give you one. Here's a free one for you. Go to this website right here, ricklevin, RICKLEVIN.com. Go to that website. See down here on the bottom, okay, where it says stay up to date, okay? Put in your email and they'll send you, every time they have an auction, they'll send you their inventory and they'll tell you the procedures to follow. Some are live in auctions, some are on the internet, online. But you can find some great deals. Everybody say, thanks, Rick. Thanks, Rick. I appreciate it. I thought if you're going to spend some time with me, I might as well give you something real good right here. But hey, where I'm really looking to make a lot of money is with wholesale foreclosures direct from lenders. This is one of the easiest, most profitable ways to make money out there. Do you understand there's 203 banks in trouble still today? Yeah, these banks are this close from getting shut down by the FDIC. Got news for you. 3 years ago, you could go to FDIC.gov, and they show you all the banks that are on the FDIC watch list. Not anymore. Now you go to FDIC.gov, guess what you see? Only failed banks. They'll tell you who failed, what year, who bought them. You know, banks like Wachovia, okay, WAMU. What happens is these people are on the urge of getting shut down by the FDIC. They're told to liquidate assets, get rid of those bad loans, get rid of those bad properties that you guys got, and go out and make new, good, fully documented loans. And banks that were too slow got shut down. And now there's still 903 more in trouble. WAMU was too slow. They didn't have a department. They couldn't dump them on the market before the Department of Justice. So what they started doing is just slowly putting them on the market, keep demand high. But what happened is they weren't able to liquidate enough assets and got shut down. And what happened? A bigger bank came around and bought all their residential and commercial real estate assets for 3 to 5 cents on the dollar. Amazing. Okay? They were too slow. See, banks that were faster figured out we can't dump them on the retail market. Why? Too much inventory on the retail market, the whole market will crash. Prices will come down. So what we're going to do is silently and quietly liquidate them to people in the know and wholesale them through special asset managers. Wholesale asset managers, people in charge of disposition of troubled assets, distressed assets. And I got news for you. Even the banks on the retail side didn't even know who these special asset managers and disposition specialists even were. They didn't know who they were. They didn't know where they are. They weren't even quite sure if they really were. And that's how the bank wanted it. Why? Because they were able to sell properties this way, and when they did it, there was no disclosure of price the way they set it up. That way it wouldn't affect the retail side of the bank. Now, I got news for you. You can't get that list of all the banks on the FDIC watch list. But guess what? I can, and I use it. That's what gives me my edge. How many of you would like it if I gave you that list of all the banks on the FDIC watch list? Would you like that? Would you like it if I showed you how you could track down that lender and get to an asset manager to see if they have a wholesale side, to see if they're liquidating? If you know they're in trouble, they got to liquidate. How exactly do you get a hold of these people? What do you say? You better not call it a foreclosure. They'll think you're a retail person and they'll say, hey, I have no idea what you're even talking about. Why? Because they refer to it and they speak in a different language. That way they can decide whether or not you're a wholesale or retail person. What language do they use? They're called non-performing residential or commercial assets. You got to know how to talk to them. You need to get to a supervisor that is high enough to make a decision. Because not everybody in the bank knows they're on the FDIC watch list. That's the last thing the bank wants. Hey, it's Monday morning meeting. Guess what, guys? Hey, anybody got any sick days due? Vacation time? Oh, I suggest you take it. Why? We're this close to getting shut down by the FDIC. While you're off, I suggest you look for a new job. They don't know. But see, I know how to tap into that. And for some of you on this phone call, if you're really serious, I'm going to give you a chance to learn exactly how we do that, how we contact these people, and how we make a ton of money. And it doesn't matter if you have good credit, bad credit, no credit. Okay? I got written up in the newspaper and found out, shoot, you know what? I'm making a ton of money before the Department of Justice shut down, and we were just rolling in money. There were so many properties and stuff. Now I have a lot of money, but I'm limited, especially I live in San Diego, so, you know, I kind of do the Southern California, Northern California. But heck, if I go out and buy 50 properties with the average median home price over $400,000, guess what? I need to get those properties fixed up and resold or wholesaled before I can go buy any more. But one day, I got a call. You see, how do I have access to that FDIC watch list? Well, this is kind of ironic. Remember when I told you about my buddy, my mentor, John, the billionaire guy? Well, just so happens that, remember he introduced me to Art Toronto, the president and CEO of the Resolution Trust Corporation? You know what Art does now? He's the president and CEO of a company called Prescient. It's spelled P-R-E-S-C-I-E-N-T. You know who they are? They're the auditors for the FDIC. Yes, they go in and audit banks. They're also the asset managers for the FDIC. So it's not just what you know, it's who you know. Okay? Very, very valuable asset. One day, all of a sudden I get a call on my cell phone. I know it's a Washington, D.C. number. I answer the phone. The guy says, hey, this is Mike. The reason why I'm calling you is I'm a friend of Art Toronto. He says, I know you know Art. I said, of course I do. And you're a friend of his? He said, yes, I am. And I also know your buddy John, your mentor. And I know you guys make a ton of money. I know I saw the article in the LA Times. You guys make a lot of money, and with all these foreclosures and these bank-owned properties, and you guys are the hottest in the country. He said, I'll tell you what, I know you guys are very successful, got a lot of money, but guess what? We have a lot more money than you. I said, excuse me? Did you just say that? No, you know what, I'd never say this to anybody, but since you said that, how much money you got? He said, we have billions. I said, okay, you got a lot more money than me. What do you want? He said, well, I didn't mean to make it sound like that. The reason why Art gave me your number is we got billions of dollars, and our job is to keep it employed, very safe, with the highest possible return. So the reason why I got your number is because Art thought we might make a good match. He says, look, would you be interested in using our money instead of your own? And we have billions. And I know there's a lot more inventory than you guys can do with your own funding. I said, let me think about it for a second. Okay, what do you want? He said, I want half your profit. I said, you're kidding. He says, no, I want half your profit. You're going to use our money, money gets half. I said, okay, that works for me. You know what? I got a lot of money, and I can make 100%, but I figured if I use their money, number one, what risk do I have? None. And I can do a ton more deals even though I'm only making 50%. Shoot, I could do a jillion more deals and make a ton more money with no risk whatsoever. I said, what do we got to do? He says, well, the first thing we need to do is you need to have your attorney draft up a non-circumvention, non-disclosure agreement. I said, why? He says, well, look, Rick, we just want you to feel comfortable that if you show us a deal, we're not going to go steal it from you. Believe me, we don't want your job. We just want to make good money on our money. And we got a lot of money to move. I said, okay, non-circumvention, non-disclosure agreement. That means if you tell us that, disclose to us a property, we can't go behind you and steal it. I said, that makes sense. Well, make long story short, went to my attorneys, we went back and forth with their attorneys. We came to a meeting of the minds. We put together a non-circumvention, non-disclosure agreement. It cost me about $2,500 to have my attorneys do it by the time I went back and forth. but it was well worth it. And he said, now that we have that, I'm going to send you over a checklist. Okay, now this is what I need on each property. Okay, and he went right through it. He says this won't take you very long at all. We need some interior, exterior photographs of the property. We need a CMA on the property. We want to see at least 3 to 5 recently sold comps in the area. We need a bid from a licensed contractor that shows what you're going to do to rehab that property. He says, look, we'll not only put up the money to help you buy it, we'll put up and cover all the carrying costs, you know, electricity, taxes, insurance. We'll put up the money to rehab the property. You send us over that detailed CMA, a detailed report from a contractor, what work's going to be provided and done. And then what we'll do is we'll answer you within 24 hours. We'll say yes or no. Well, you know what? Ever since then, it's taken them less than 2 hours to say yes. And I've never sent them a deal where they've said no, because I followed everything on their checklist. They said if we like the deal based on the comps, and these are ARV comps, what is that? After renovation value comps. What we'll do is wire transfer the funds into escrow. Just before closing, we'll send an appraiser of our choice to go in and do an ARV after renovation value based on your contractors, what he's going to do to fix up that property and your bid from him. And if it comes out to be the same thing that you're representing to us, we'll close the deal. And by the way, I've never had him say no. Why? I already knew the numbers. I knew exactly what the ARV after renovation value coming out. And by the way, I could teach you how to do that too, in less than 10 minutes. And by the way, I asked him this. I said, so let me get this right. I send you all this stuff. Do you need tax returns? You need some documentation on it? He says, no, we don't. We're asset-based lenders. We're looking at the asset. Come on, we're going to have a first deed of trust or a first mortgage on the dang property. You're not allowed to encumber it anymore. We're not worried. If you default, we'll just take the property. So let me get this straight, I said to him. Then it doesn't matter to you if I have good credit, bad credit, no credit. It doesn't matter if you have a strong financial statement, no financial statement. It doesn't matter if I'm employed, unemployed. It doesn't matter to you if I'm in the middle of foreclosure or just went bankrupt. Is that true? He said, well, I wouldn't say it that way. But yes, that's true. And by the way, I ended up doing millions of deals with these people. I continue to do. But guess what? These people are like herd animals. They run in groups. There's other groups of funds out there. Next thing I know, I was getting calls from other ones saying, hey, I know you're working with these people. They got a ton of money, I know, but we also have a ton of money. How'd you like to work with some of our money? Now I have about 20 of these groups of people, all a little different type deal, and they're all ready to go. And it doesn't matter if you have good credit, bad credit, no credit. It doesn't matter if you have experience or no experience. So let me ask you this. How many of you would like that list of all my investors? Yeah? I bet you would. And I suppose you want my non-circumvention, non-disclosure agreement too, so you don't have to pay an attorney $2,500. You want my list of all the banks on the FDIC watch list. You want all the little shortcuts we have? I bet you do. I got news for you. We spend a ton of money perfecting what we do. We are the best of the best. We're able to take a lender on the FDIC watch list. I can filter that out. I can tell if they have an REO department, if they have a loss mitigation department. I can track it down and find out if they have wholesale programs, are they liquidating or on the FDIC watch list. I need a name of a person. You can't call these lenders unless you have a contact name. And I know how to get the name. See, we have specialized software so we could track it down. Loan servicing department, REO department, Sandy, Utah, the contact person is Nicole. Her function is REO department, liquidation, distressed assets. Here's her branch phone number. Here's her branch ID number. There's their fax. There's her, got her email. I got everything and anything on it. By the way, how many of you would like to be able to use a software, a database, to be able to function just like us? See, you got to have tools. Most people don't tell you about these things. We did this property in Burbank. Profit over $50,000, and of course our investor made over $50,000. Is that a sweet deal? That's what I call sweet. But you know what I call this one in Cerritos? Sweet, 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 sweet. $75,000. Pasadena, 80 grand. Glendale, 100 grand. How many of you like to go out and do one of these every 2 months or every month? Do you see how, if you have the right tools, because most people in our business, they can't compete with us. They can't act fast enough. They don't know how to get to decision makers. They don't know how to put everything together. We all have that. And for some of you on this phone call tonight, I'm going to share that with you. Okay? So if you want to get on board, make a ton of money, tonight's your night. It's a new year. And this year, we're all going to make a ton of money, if you're serious. I don't like anybody to waste my time, and I don't like to waste anybody else's time. Look, why isn't everybody profiting? It's not about lack of money. There's a ton of people with money out there that aren't making any money on their money. It's not about bad or low credit. It's not about lack of time. How many of you on this call would invest a minimum 6 to 10 hours a week if you can make an extra $30,000 a month? A month. Month after month. You know what stops people? Fear. Number one, they don't understand our real estate market. Even real estate people, sorry, I don't mean to offend anybody. Most people didn't know about the Department of Justice. They don't know why all of a sudden all the foreclosures evaporated. They didn't know about the deals getting cut, and deals were cut, billions of dollars. Okay, they don't understand that lenders are kicking it back up, getting their foreclosure machines back online. They just don't know. They've never seen a market like this. And they may not see it, which means it's a greater opportunity for us. Even these people that go around the country that say they're experts at real estate investing but aren't. Here's a letter from a friend of mine. His name's Blaine Smith. He says, I've been to that Armando Montalbano guy, I don't know, Robert Kiyosaki, oh God, you name it, I was there. I spent over $40,000 on their coaching and mentoring programs. They never helped me do a single property. Rick and his team of experts are the real deal. They showed me how to quickly get an actual wholesale foreclosure property direct from a lender below market value, sell it fast for a $40,000 profit. Thanks, Rick. With gratitude and respect, Blaine Smith. How many like to go out and make 40 grand? Just like that. How many of you have ever been to any of these other seminars that go around the country? The Bertucci guy and flip this, flip that. Oh God, you pay up to $3 grand to go for a 3-day training. They don't teach you anything. They give you no tools. And then they tell you, in order to really learn it, you know what the secret sauce is? You need our coaching and mentoring program. That starts at $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. If you've ever been to one of those, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? I hate that they do that and take people and do a bait and switch on them. If you're serious, here's your keys to success. Number one, you got to have goals. Goals. I'm big on goals. And it's the perfect time of year, 2015. Okay? You got to have a goal. You got to have a deadline in which time you will accomplish that goal. And you've got to give yourself a consequence. Yes, something at risk to motivate you to follow through and no other options. This is the biggest mistake people make. They fail to, or they're unwilling to, or unable to give themselves a suitable consequence that forces them to follow through. Oh, come on, good intentions are nothing. Good intentions won't help you be successful. Why? People are too busy. Something will come up. You go, oh shoot, I'll work on that tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. Next thing you know, it's next year and the year after, and you miss the entire boat. For those of you who are serious, okay, if you're serious here tonight, you want me to teach you, train you, advise you. You want all my tools. You want to be able to tell whether or not a deal is profitable in less than 2 minutes. You want my FDIC watch list. You want my non-circumvention, non-disclosure agreement. You want the FDIC watch list. You want to know how to get qualified short sales. You want to know how to track down the bank, to get to asset managers, to get to the distressed property division, to get to the liquidators, okay? The people in charge of liquidating distressed assets, residential and commercial assets. If you're serious here tonight, I'm looking for just a few people to get on, be a part of my team, work with me. I'll coach you. I'll mentor you. Yes, there is a tuition, but no, I'm not going to upsell you to a gold, platinum, diamond package for 30. I'm going to give you everything. Everything. All the tools, all the education, all the help, all the support, all the advice. Write it down. If you want to learn how to track REO foreclosures, get wholesale foreclosures, do easy fix and flips, you want to use our smartphone apps. I mean, we got smartphone apps that'll knock your socks off. Okay, I can pull up properties on my smartphone and know exactly what's for sale as I drive by them. It comes right up on my phone. I can analyze the property in less than 2 minutes. You want access to our private investors. You want to know how to put together the package. You want to know how to use other people's money, other people's assets, other people's credit, other people's experience. Get qualified short sales, deeds in lieu of foreclosures, work with extremely motivated sellers, analyze a deal in 2 minutes, government auctions that people don't even know about, steal properties, what banks must sell, benefits of a land trust, how to set up a qualified retirement plan. How many of you like to take your retirement plan, roll it over to a self-directed one where you have the checkbook, you're in control? I don't know what you're earning on your retirement plans, but let me ask you this. How'd you like to earn 20 to 100% on your retirement accounts every year, tax-free? I'll give you an Excel spreadsheet, and I'll show it to you in just a minute, that analyzes the deal just like that. Smart tools. Where do you get your data? Where do you get your comps? How do you know what the sold properties are? I'll show you how to get all that. Create a residual income where you have more money coming in than money going out. Never again be dependent on a job, the government, Social Security, or pensions. Why? You can't be dependent on a job, the government, Social Security, or pensions. Look what's going on in Washington right now, trying to get rid of Social Security. You want to retire wealthy and happy? Come take a ride with me. First thing you need to understand is our golden rule. Write it down. No risk, high reward. We're not gamblers. We're not real estate speculators. There's nothing we do is about luck or chance. Everything we do is a very systematic and predictable process. Follow our system, and I will teach you our system, inside out, frontwards and backwards. Follow our system, and we'll make a ton of money. The word system is spelled S-Y-S-T-E-M. You know what it stands for? Save you stress, time, effort, and money, and makes you a ton of money. This isn't for everybody. And I got news for you. You don't make money thinking about it. You've got to take action. There's 7 fundamental laws to creating wealth. I'm going to teach them all to you. The 7th and most important one is the law of action. If you don't take any actions, nothing happens. For every action is a reaction. I'm going to teach you how to take totally different actions than you ever have in the past and get unbelievable results. Real results that you can take to the bank. How would you like to be able to look at, here's my property decision maker. Here, let me just show you something real quick. Let me come right down. You want to know how we analyze these deals? Here it is. I can show you how to analyze a property, and I'll give you this Excel spreadsheet. You become part of my team. Let me give you here. I'm sorry, this is something that I was already working on. All you need to know is 3 numbers. What are we going to buy it for? What's our cost of rehab? And what can we sell for? What's the after renovation value? Everything else is preloaded into this Excel spreadsheet. So let's take a look at a property real quick. See how you like this. This is what makes us better than everybody else. Let's take a look at it. I'm looking at a property right now. It's $425,000. Okay? It needs rehabbed. It needs $60,000 worth of rehab. Come right down here. After I rehab that property, I'm going to be able to sell it, and I can show you comps right now for $660,000. Recent solds within the last 90 days, and I can show you 5 of them. $660,000. This has got it all plugged in. Okay, I must be missing a number here somewhere. 600,000. Oh, a little too many zeros up here. No problem. We're not going to fix it up for 600,000. 60 grand. Here's the deal. We got our first loan going in. I got an investor willing to put up the capital. We're paying him 2 points. We're paying him 10% interest. Okay. We're going to come right down here. We're going to sell the property for $660,000. If I need a gap investor, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Here's the final deal. Here's our profit margin after paying the investor. $31,336,000. Okay? $31,336,000. How many would like to go out and do one little baby deal like this with me, with our help? You'll never do this alone. We'll be with you every step of the way and make an extra $31,000. If you want me to train you and everything else, write this down. It's a one-time investment. And by the way, I usually, when I've done this before, I've sold this training with all of our data, contacts, the bank contacts, the FDIC watch list, all the real stuff, including the Excel spreadsheets, all the smart apps, smart tools. I sell this for $6,000. If I did a live event, right, went out and did a live event, I discounted in half, $3,000. For you tonight, write it down, $997, and I'm not going to upsell you on a bunch of garbage, platinum, gold, diamond package. I'm going to include it all, okay? $997. You'll never get me to offer this again. I did this as a special favor for Cherif, my buddy, okay? You'll got it all. Here's a picture of myself. That's me over here on the right-hand side. That's a picture of me. That's a picture of my buddy Stephen. And this is Grace, and this is her son Lee. Now, Grace and that, she came to a live event. By the way, I discounted it to $3,000, not no $997. She was very skeptical. She's Chinese. English is a second language. She didn't speak very good English. Her son just got out of college, got a master's degree in business, working at a restaurant. Couldn't find a job. Money was very tight for her. She was scared. I told her, if you don't do this, I got news for you. You will kick yourself in the head for the rest of your life. If you don't do this, I promise you, if you do this, you will make a lot of money. She wrote me this card, and by the way, it's an angel card with an angel on it. With the help of Rick, his staff, and their training, I made 3 deals in less than 30 days and profited very great money. With no money and no credit. Thanking God for the blessing of wonderful people like you. Thank you, Rick Brown, our mentor and great friend. And by the way, that angel card means more to me than $1 million. I was just so happy to help her and show her how she could have financial freedom. Changed her life. That angel card means a ton to me. I want to be a blessing to people. Look, I'm going to teach you what very few people know how to do. Analyze a property in less than 2 minutes. Know when a property becomes an REO property before the bank even knows they own it. How to find out if they're a strong bank or a weak bank. Get to a decision maker at the bank. Get properties direct from banks below market value using private investors. I'll teach you how to fix it. Sell it quick below market value or wholesale it. How many be happy not to lift a hammer, not to have to oversee a contractor, and make yourself $10,000 to $25,000 extra a month and not do anything just by wholesaling properties? You'll know when a property goes back to the bank. We're only interested in the first deed of trust. We'll show you how we track properties. So we notice the trustee sales file. Well, notice the default first. 90 days later, notice the trustee sale. We'll know how to find out who the lender is. The lender is called the beneficiary. We'll know who the trustee is. We'll know if if the minimum bid is more than what the property's worth, it's going back to that lender. We have the lender's information. We go into our other source and track down to get to a disposition specialist, a liquidator, an asset manager, somebody in charge of liquidating non-performing residential or commercial assets. Here's a property, a fixer-upper after renovation, 450, located in Mira Mesa, not too far from me. The 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. Show you how to pick up properties like this from motivated sellers. Pick that property up, sell it for 450, fix it up for 30, closing costs, real estate commissions, 25,000, pay off the cost of the property, 335, make 60 grand. Now, if you have cash and you have $500,000, you could do this deal and make the 60 grand. But if you need somebody else's money, and it doesn't matter if you have good credit, bad credit, no credit, we'll show you how they'll put up the funds, you split the profit, they make 30 grand, you make 30 grand. And I got news for you. If you're in and out in 60 days or 90 days, And would they put up 335? They put up another 30, 365, and made 30 grand. My God, that's almost 10% on their money in 90 days. I got news for you. If you can make an investor 10 to 20% on their money a year, they love you. If you can make them about 10% every 90 days, my God, they don't love you. They want to marry you. Okay? It's all about money. Let me ask you this. What does the bank pay? What's the CD pay today for a year? I got news for you. Not even 1%. People out there, that's why there's tons of investors that want to do these deals. What if you did 10 of these part-time over the next year and you took 2 months off and went to Hawaii or Europe? What's 10 times 30,000? That's right, $300,000 a year. What is it worth to you to make a one-time investment in your financial security of less than $1,000 to learn how to make $30,000 a month, $300,000 a year or more? And that's part-time, 6 to 10 hours a week. Can anybody do the things I'm about to teach you? Absolutely. Here's Dan Tobias. He says, you guys are great. You made it so easy for me to make money. Thanks again for everything. Best investment I ever made. Here's Delia Guan. Thanks, Rick, for helping me do a fixer-upper using none of my own money. Make a lot of money fast. You are all great. Here's Carlos. By the way, does Carlos look happy? Yes, and he had just gotten out of a bankruptcy. He lost a property in foreclosure. Thank you, Rick, for showing me how to easily do a wholesale foreclosure, and make money fast, even though I had no money, no credit, no experience. You are a real blessing. Here's Brett, lives in Newport Beach, been an investor for 30 years. Dear Rick, I learned so much at your workshop. Before this, several of us paid a ton of money to other groups, but they only taught us concepts. You provided us with everything to do the deal. Yes, real strategies, techniques, others don't teach, plus the forms, bank contacts, asset managers, apps, Excel spreadsheets, private investor money. Your experience, support, tools, guidance are priceless. I wish would have met you and your team sooner. Here's Stephanie and Eddie. That's me in the middle. Kind of a bad picture. They live up in the Bay Area. They wrote me this. Rick's knowledge and experience are priceless. We've done 2 fixers and made over $250,000. Awesome training. Thanks, Rick. Lenders are foreclosing again. Now is the time for money. Now is the time for you to take action. And you got a tidal wave of commercial assets they're going to be foreclosed on. More money is going to be made in the next 12 months than ever before in the history of real estate. So are you ready to learn how to know your market, know your product, know your numbers, get in, get out, and get paid? Because if you're ready to learn how to get in and get out and get paid, then I want you on my team. If you're serious, I'm going to spend 3 whole days with you. I broke it up into 6 separate sessions. I'm doing this online. So even if you're not available, I'm starting this Saturday, so time is of the essence. I'm going to start it at 9:30 and go to 12 noon. If you can't make any session, I'm going to post it online, and you'll be able to watch it at your convenience. So it fits into everybody's schedule. I'm going to teach you how to track foreclosures, get wholesale foreclosure properties, do easy fix and flips. I'm going to give you our smartphone apps. I'm going to give you access to our private investors, show you exactly what they're willing to do. I'll show you how to create an investor package for them in less than 10 minutes. I'll teach you how to use other people's money, other people's assets, other people's credit, other people's experience, qualified short sales, deed in lieu of foreclosure, extremely motivated sellers, key real estate formula, government auctions. I'll give you a list of the FDIC bank list, what banks must sell, liquidate, or they'll get shut down. And then a bigger bank will buy their assets for 3 to 5 cents. So I got news for you. A bank, 50% of the value of the property, 30, 50% below market value, looks a lot better to them than 3 cents on the dollar. I'll show you some lenders got deed restrictions. I will give you a land trust that's reusable because you can't sell some of their properties for 2 years. I'll teach you how you don't have to worry about seasoning. And deed restrictions. Why? You're going to put it in the land trust. You can't sell the house, but you can sell the land trust, and the house goes with it. It's called a loophole. Do you like loopholes? And I'll provide, the land trust, by the way, costs about $3,000 with an attorney. I own the land trust. I'll give it to you, and you can use it again and again. I'm going to show you how to put up get yourself a self-directed qualified retirement plan. One where you're the trustee, you have the checkbook, and I'll show you how to earn 20 to 100% on your retirement accounts. I'll show you how to protect your assets. I'll give you smart tools, data, show you where we get our data from so you know what properties have sold. Analyze something in less than a couple minutes. Create a residual income where you got more money coming in than money going out. Never again be dependent on a job, government, Social Security. You follow my system, and I guarantee you will retire wealthy and happy. Look, I usually sold it for $6,000. In live, I dropped it to $3,000. That's what all those other people paid. Look, tonight only, this is the only wholesale foreclosure training offered, $9.97. I'll teach you how to research, track properties just like a professional, right from your smartphone or your computer. Analyze the profitability on our Excel spreadsheet. Property decision maker, it decides for you. That's what you send to the investors in less than 2 minutes. I'll show you how to put together that investor package, 10 minutes. Get access to all of our preferred private investors. Learn our strategies, shortcuts, get wholesale foreclosures direct from weak lenders below market value, do short sales. And I'll teach you the secrets other people don't know so they can't teach it to you. I'd like to see everybody who gets involved with me go do a property in less than 30 days. Make yourself 10, 20, 30 grand real quick. If you went out and made 10, 20, 30 grand in less than 30 days and you invested $9.97, would this be the best investment you ever made? You better believe it. And then you're going to continue to make that every month. Every month. I'm including a bunch of free stuff here tonight. I'm going to give you 3 months on demand. In other words, for 3 months you can go back and watch every training that I do. There's 6 sessions, morning, afternoon, 3 days, times 2, 6. I'll put it up on our website. You have access to my website. You got access to it. You can watch it over and over again. Repetition is the mother of learning. 3 months, we'll give you a toll-free 1-800 number, all the help, support, advice you need. You got a question, we got an answer. You get my Excel spreadsheet. You get all of our smart tools, phone apps, data services, so you can pull comps, see what things have sold for, analyze a property. I'll show you how to build an action plan from our training so you know what to do. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. You got access to our own private website. Okay, this is for members only. It has over $250,000 worth of documents, contract, non-circumvention, non-disclosure agreement, an equity participation agreement. By the way, you need that with some of these investors too. That explains how they're going to put up the money to buy the property, cover carrying costs, cover the rehab, and then you're going to sell the property, and it provides escrow instructions, stipulates that the escrow company is to pay you half the profit and pay them the other half, as well as paying them back all the money they invested. I'll give you a reusable land trust and more. I'm not going to sell you a diamond, a gold, a platinum package. You got access to our preferred investor list. I'm going to give you a list of key websites. Access to the FDIC watch list, the weakest banks. I'm also going to give you the strongest banks. Why? That's where we put our money. Okay, that's why we need to know. You don't want your bank, got your money in a weak bank. It gets shut down. Your money's tied up for years. I'm going to give you a quick start tonight. We'll email it out to you. I'm also going to send you a smart tools guide. Quick start of some things you can start looking over right now, get a little head start. Smart tools, I'll be going through those as I train you, but I want you to have advanced warning on what these are so that you can kind of look into them. And I'm going to do something here tonight. I'm only going to take a limited number because this webinar, I like to be very personal, and I do it live. I'm going to give some of you, the first 10 people that call in tonight, I'm going to give you something very special, something very, very few people ever get. What's that? Me, personally, value, priceless. I'm going to give you my personal cell phone number. How do you think Grace, the Chinese lady, how do you think she went out and made over $81,000 on 3 deals? And by the way, her son now works with her. Their goal is to do 300 deals, make $3 million, and retire in the next year to 2 years. Because I helped her. I gave her that same offer because she was so worried and skeptical. I said, I'll give you my personal cell phone number. You got access to my office staff, and by the way, they're experienced people, not kids. Okay, but I'll help you personally. I'm going to do this for 10 of you, but I'm not going to do it for free. Listen up real quick. I want the same thing. I want it from her. I help you do a property. I give you my personal cell phone number. I help you do a deal, a transaction, real quick. You make a ton of money. I don't want any of the money. I got a ton of money. I do want something, though. What do I want? A really nice thank you card. And by the way, I like the angel cards, just like she got me. Okay? I want to be a blessing. Now, I can't give my number out to everybody, and there's another catch on it, too. You can only call me Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Don't call me before 9 a.m., as I got prepping my day, and don't call me after 5 because I'm with my family. If you have an emergency on the weekend, 9 a.m., 5 p.m., call me. If I help you do the deal, you keep all the money, okay? I want a really nice thank you card. How many of you be willing to give me a really nice thank you card if I could help you go out, do 3 deals, or 1 deal, make 30 grand, or 3 deals, make over 80 grand real quick? Yeah? Well, if you're serious, now's the time for action. You need to pick up your phone and call area code 407-641-1731. And you got to do it now. If you don't do it now, you'll never get around to doing it. This is a one-time investment. A one-time investment that will pay you back every day, every week, every month, every year for the rest of your life. If you structure this correctly, it will not only provide you a residual income of $20,000, $30,000 a month, it will set your children up, and their children, and their children, and their children. This is a one-time investment, okay? It will change your life. Pick up the phone. Give a call. First 10 people, I'm going to give you my personal help, my personal number. Again, the number is area code 407-641-1731. Area code 407-641-1731. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to go out and make a ton of money. You want to be on my team? You want us to help you, advise you, coach you, mentor you, walk you through deals? You want access to all of our stuff? Nobody else can offer you what we have. This is the real deal. I guarantee it. If you're serious, give us a call. I've got staff standing by. Be patient with them. They're in Florida, in Orlando. Pick up the phone and give them a call. I promise this will change your life financially forever. I want to be a blessing to each and every one of you. I want 2015 to just be your best year financially ever. Take action. It's the 7th most important law of creating wealth, the law of action. Again, give us a call. You got the number. Take care. Do great always. This is Rick Brown saying good night.